Stella's outside, and I know she's going to interrupt us, and I'll have to get up and go let her in. But I was like, oh man, I could be wasting like 20 or 25 minutes. Sometimes she'll just go out there and she'll just lay and lay and lay until she gets too cold. And it's super creepy out too. I got to get over my nighttime fears, being able to open this door and shit with her demanding ass in the middle of the night. And being in the woods. Luckily, there's other houses around me though. And like the houses that are getting built over there in that new development, those ones are up against the mountain. And there's so much exploding and shit all day for the past couple weeks. Like, fuck, man, I can't even tell you how insane it is. Except for then there'll be a day where there's just complete nothing. And yesterday it was just huge truck after huge truck driving by. And that's a whole thing here about the HOA and the roads. And they're trying to get us to pay $2 million or something. And they're not supposed to be letting any of these trucks go on the roads. It's a whole fucking thing because there's so much corruption. There's so much fucking corruption down to the HOA level. People taking fucking payoffs and shit. Like, it's fucking corrupt as fuck, man. People get things through when they pay to get things through. They rub each other's backs or scratch each other's backs or whatever it is. And it's just as, ew, they're all dirty. All just dirty. Oh, you want to know something trippy though? So I just saw this guy on TikTok. It was the first time I ever saw him. And he was saying, the first video I saw, was saying, you know about that money I found on my property? Well, now look what's going on. And the cops are showing up. I'm not letting them. They're telling me that they're coming and taking that money. They're coming and taking, they're going to look and they want more money. They, I just drank my cup of tea. It always gets like wheezy. Then they're going to take, they're going to go and take this money. And he counted it on TikTok. And when he dumped it out, he said, this is new money. This isn't old money. Because it all had the $100 bills with a strip. It was $7,000 in this one jar, all standing up, $100 bills. And he was out excavating with the machine. And when it rolled it, it popped this jar up. So he was like, what the fuck? And it wasn't old. 2 minutes in. Hold on. So he does this TikTok apparently. And so anyways, the one I saw, he was talking about this cop situation. They come to his house and he shows them out there. And he said he got his lawyer. He's like, fuck them. And I'm not giving them the fucking money. And so I went to go and look and see what it was about. And that's where I saw, oh, he found this money on his property. And so then I've seen a couple more of these videos pop up. But when he found the money, so he said that next door was a house that was like a drug house or something. They were doing some illegal stuff. He said, I bet you that they got paranoid and went out and started burying money outside. And so now, you know, because it's newer money. But he's like, I don't know why they would bury it over here, but maybe they didn't know their line very good if they were all strung out on drugs and stuff. But there's probably a lot of money buried out there, especially in their own yard. Because you can't, when you're doing illegal stuff, you can't go take it in the bank and stuff. You have to put it somewhere. You can't just leave it sitting around your house, because once people know you're doing illegal stuff and that you're keeping money in the house, then you are a target for other criminals to rob you. And then other criminals will rob you because they know you won't go tell because you're doing crime. So that's why there's so much crimes that go on in the criminal element. They fuck each other over all the time. It's such fuckery that goes on. Like, it's not just they've got enough fucking going on with themselves. Probably they're all fucking each other over. And then the government comes in and says, you guys, quit fucking around. Get out there and fuck these people over like you're paid to do. It's like, it's all nonsense. And so, anyways, so this guy, now they're fucking, they've lined his roads. The cops have lined his roads. They are going to find a fucking crime on you, dude. They will fucking make one up. Do you not know what's going on? This is the corporate espionage of law officials to control us and for them to gain. I am sorry. Just I'll be quieter. I'm doing my work. Okay? Just relax. After I got to tell about last night too, and yesterday. Okay, just let me finish my work, honey. You know I've got to do this first. So just relax. What are you crying about? Do you want some medicine? She hasn't had any medicine since yesterday. Yesterday, she was so out of it. And I think it was because of the not sleeping. She stayed up all fucking night. She stayed up all night, all day. I got to finish first with the thing. So they've lined his streets. Now they're flying drones over his house. And you know that there's got to be a lot of money out there buried. And now they know that this guy knows, so he can start accessing. They will fuck. It's like, you don't even, it's like, look, it's a good thing this is all really public online, but they can fucking shut his shit down. They can do whatever the fuck they want. And it's so weird. It's like, it's their paper. But these are the henchmen. And it's like, I don't know. It's like the paper is always worthless. You know? It's like it's monopoly money. We all fight over monopoly money. But it is weird. Like, I don't know. Anyways, but these people... this guy is... I said you should probably get in contact with the military. Because you got to remember, the military is separate. The people who work for the America, for government, work for the corporation. And the corporation has ended. We have two separate forces here. And so we got to recognize which one is there to protect us. Because that's who I will call. If a cop starts harassing me, I'll call, what are those people called? Like the reserve or something. Call the closest military unit I can. And put out a distress that I'm a citizen and I need help. And see, they're supposed to protect us on our soil and stuff. This is when the cards go down. But you know, you got to stand up for your rights. And that's one thing, is that most of the people aren't. Most of the people just keep paying their slave wage, you know, paying their taxes, paying their mortgages, just, you know, don't hurt us, don't jail us, and are totally taking a knee to them. Still, come on. I'll try giving her some medicine. Hold on, and I'll tell that story. Please don't do this, okay? I'm trying to work. Why are you being so disruptive? You were sleeping a little while ago. Just go back to sleep for a little, and I'll be done in a little bit. It's not a big drama. You're having such a fit about it. She's like grumbly all the time. Oh, because Mama has big fits like that when she gets woke up, so you're showing me my business? Okay, I get it. Okay. Anyway, so yesterday she was up all motherfucking day. I couldn't believe it. It was like she was out of it too. And I had given her, because the night before she was being, or the day, I don't even know. For some reason, I gave her some more of her CBD stuff, but it was the THC one, and it always makes me so nervous. So I'll give her the tiniest bit. And then I will be nervous, like, oh my gosh, you know, like, I'll even start going crazy. What if she goes back to her past life where she ate me? What if she thinks we're back there and she eats me? What if she kills me? Like, I am weird, but I'm weird, but I'm fun. But anyways, but it depends, because to my kids, I'm just like I'm an embarrassment. Like, God, she's so weird. But anyways, but they were taught that way, because I was such an embarrassment, because you can't be a trophy to somebody and talk. Like, you can't be something that, you know, it's just different when they pick you for the outside and not for the inside. The outside is all that matters to them. The inside is an annoyance. It is so weird too, how people, man, you learn a lot through all the different things you go through in life. You learn so much, and so much of it is so hard to explain, but it's so deep. the stuff you learn. But man, there is a lot I learned in those bad relationships, I'll tell you. But that's what they're there for. It's like they prepare you. It's like that. It's like you got to go through all this stuff to get to a good one, because you can't take all that bad stuff in, because you'd mess up the good one. Stella, no, stop it. I mean it. Stop. We'll see. So, anyways, it was the night before. So I gave her some medicine to help her sleep, because I wanted to sleep. Because was that the night? All these days and nights are just blending into each other. It's just one long fucking weird thing for a while. But I don't know. There was a night. There's a lot of nights where it's just like I'm constantly woke up. Will you stop? And there was been these ones where it was, I kept getting startled awake, where I started being like, okay, there's something going on. Especially then when all of a sudden you have someone screaming in your face and you wake up and stuff like that. It's like, okay, this is a fucking attack. This is some fucking bullshit here. And so something is harassing me and keeping me awake. And I feel like part of it, like I said yesterday, part of it seems like because you are trapped in your motherfucking body. Every motherfucking time you relax and start going, then it's like fucking jolts you back in. And it's draining, man. It's like our self has to go out of ourselves. That's part of the unplugging or something. That's part of the letting the avatar rest period, is us to leave out of it. Take the energy, take the battery out and go do something different. And it is like, that is why it feels so like overloaded and just like, I think that is to disrupt that time so that we can't go out and leave our bodies to recharge. And when we go out, we go do things. We go have experiences, but a lot of times we go, like I go in to like learn things and stuff. I go like to meetings and shit. And then sometimes you go into the thing that people call like dreams. It is like a playing out of a storyline so you can see it, so you can get the experience and get the lesson. It's like these quick lessons. It's like that is what a soul is all about, is this constant learning. But it's not learning in the sense of what we do to go to school and learn. It is experiencing, which we do to come into this experience, to be birthed in, to have that living experience, because that is what you learn from. But people get so off and they don't pay attention to their living experience, and they start trying to have something else. But that is their living experience. That is what their soul learns in their review. That has relevance. So it's not like anybody does anything wrong, but it's also, that's how it has been learned and understood about perspective, and how perspective works and develops, and how it is interlinked with one's consciousness, so one can begin to evolve. It's a part of the evolution process of, it's like perspective, conscious perspective, kind of. Quit interrupting me. See these interruptions all the motherfucking time. Oh my gosh. I couldn't tell them. I was like, what is that thing there? It didn't feel like my skin was in the cold. That's weird. I'm having weird shit though. Like sometimes it's like, is this 10? What am I? What am I? Like, I don't know. We're moving through something. So anyways, things are weird, really weird right now. And my body just gets weirder and weirder. And this, the plastic surgeon's office is called. Okay, I gotta still finish that story. I gotta still talk about the interruption. The plastic surgeon called and said, oh, no, he doesn't. No, I called them. I was on their list to call back, though. And they were going to call me. So I saved him a call. And then she's like, oh, no, he said no, he wouldn't do that, that he does not recommend that at all. No, they don't recommend that. And so they don't do it. I was like, okay, bye. I called my doctor's office. And see, this is the bullshit. This is where it's like unethical to me. Like these doctors don't fucking tell me. Like, I don't know. I mean, I was a nurse And I feel like I know things more than these, like, it's weird. It's like that's because they're disconnected from something. They're plugged into greed and disconnected from intuition. It's like if you go out of balance in greed, you lose intuition or something because it's a dependency on an energy that doesn't exist. You create this dependency because the universe doesn't live. The reason it still comes into experience lack is because lack is an experience. The universe evolves around abundancy. That's why we're going into a time of abundance where everybody will have more than they need. Nobody will live in lack. Nobody will have to wonder when they're going to eat again or any of that stuff. Everything will be available. There will be no wanting. That's how the universe works. It's when the people start feeling like they're not going to have enough, they're not going to have enough. So they start putting more and more money to protect them. Some people do it to keep the money from other people so that they can say, I have more than you. And so there's different things that go on. You know, the people who are over us is like a part of the game, that goes on. It's like the slave game. Take from us, make us see how hard will they work and get nothing for it. Let's just see how long will they do this for. 65, 70 years. Okay, let's see how it goes. So anyways, like, it's a game, and people have to all of a sudden see for themselves. And that's what we're in this time of. And that is why when the money thing, like what I was talking about, because I see people saying it all the time, like, come on, guys, let's stop paying our rent. Come on, guys, let's stop paying our mortgage. Come on, guys, let's stop paying everything. Let's stop paying these corporate people. And nobody jumps on board, so they don't do it. Well, I did it. I just did it. And because I understand energy, I understand me doing it is a necessary part when you are inclined by the universal intelligence to make a move. You have to follow that move, or otherwise it will eat you and eat you and eat you and eat you. But those moves are necessary because it's an energetic, it's like the energy turns and goes a different direction. And so it needs those of us who will jump off and be like, okay, I'll do it. I'm there. And then jump off and go in that direction when others don't hear or see the direction to go, because then it pulls energetically. It turns the collective, if you will, into a direction. And so this is what the universe is doing right now, is turning everything in a new direction. And so it uses, or people bring that energy as a role player or a way shower, a move maker, and then it makes moves to make changes in society. And that changes is the direction that we're going. And that is why there is so much change happening right now, because of the depth of the interference inside of some people. Like for me, like I say, I can't, no matter how wacky it seems, it is too much inside of me. And so, but when we get to the point where everybody is like, because that's what people are trying to do, is get everybody on board so that they can all do it together, because that is going to make the biggest impact. Like if everybody in an apartment building stopped paying and said, fuck you guys, no, we're not paying. We paid enough the first 6 months. We paid enough in the past year, because they keep jacking the prices up too and making people re-sign leases. Like it's so much fuckery going on with all the money things. It's kind of like the desperation of the bad guys trying to get their money back, just like in this obvious thing that they're doing, like with this guy. Oh my God, how fucking desperate are you folks? Jesus Christ. You can't even let a guy find some damn drug money? Yeah, fucking. So anyways, it's just the fuckery and the absurdity, the nonsense, the energy moving around is just as, oof. And so okay, so anyways, I want to I don't know if I was leaving something off, if I was stopping. Okay, so but I want to go back to the nighttime thing, because this was weird, I think. So I had given her that stuff. And I always worry when I give it to her that I'm going to give her too much or whatever. So give her the tiniest bit. And, but she was having a hard time sleeping, like the night that she had the pine cone in her nail. And she was just up and up and up all night. But I know there was a night where I was being up all night. So I don't know if that was the night before. It was so frustrating. It wasn't because she was keeping, it was something in the ethers keeping me up or something. And oh my God, it was horrible. And I kept going in the other room, then I come back out here. It was like, oh my God, this is fucked. And there's so much noise anyways that I have to try and like, I swear to God, once you open your crown chakra, I don't know, it depends on how open it is, I guess. Mine's always been open. But once it started, I don't know, it just got real fucking noisy up in here. So I don't know. That's just, there's an intensity to it. But so she was up all motherfucking night. And, oh yeah, okay. So I was, okay, so it was the night before where I was up all night. And so that was why I was like, okay, I want to get some sleep tonight. I've got to get some sleep. And I was lecturing her during the day. And I was telling her about this, whining at me and whining at me. There's nothing I can do. I don't know why you keep doing this. It's driving me insane. I've got to get some fucking sleep. Like, I talk to her like she's a person. And people think it's weird and wacky. But she, like, you'd have to be around her and see what I mean. Like, I see the soul, and so that's what I deal with. Anyways, so she, so I'd been lecturing her during the day, and I really was just having a bitch fit the night before. And when I have in a couple of the nights, just the constant just jarring me awake, it's like, fuck. And it's horrible. And that is why they fucking do it. And they charge off of that fucking, and you try and hold that energy back and you can't hold it back. Oh, it's just, and then they'll feed off of you too. And they'll keep doing shit. And so I was just like motherfucking so irritated. And then I know they're using Stella too. Because I can see things that people don't understand. Because they don't pay any attention. I'm not saying it's like something happening to me special. I think it happens to a lot of people. They just don't pay fucking attention. I could just fucking pay attention because I could see shit. And so so she was up all motherfucking night, and I was out. I was so I was sleeping good, but I kept being awake and seeing her up. Like, I had total awareness. Like, I still have this total awareness. It's weird. I'm talking to myself all motherfucking night. And it's like I don't know. Just all I can say is as you awaken more and you let go of more of the other world, just the other one fills in more. And it's a lot. And so they... whatever it was, I don't know. I could be saying something. Maybe I was bitching about it. I don't know what I said yesterday. That fucking video yesterday, too. I put it on whatever time I stopped, at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning. I started downloading it. By it was 3 in the afternoon. It still had not gone on. I was like, was it 3 or was it 2? I think it was at 2 in the afternoon. I was like, okay, there's some fucking bullshit happening. This is some fuckery. So I just started another one and started downloading a second one. And it downloaded in like an hour and a half. And the other one, it was still downloading when the other one went on. So I deleted it. It was like, I don't even know the fuckery. And so, anyways, whatever I had said in that one, I don't remember what I said about the sleep. But it was weird. Every night's weird. And so then, but so she was up all night. Oh, because while I was doing, this was the part, because while I was lecturing her and stuff, I did like I put a shield around me to protect me. So I put this shield around me, and then I also said, and include Stella. I'm like, and include Stella. But so I'm putting like this shield a protective shield around me, like an energetic, like a gold shield around me, so that they couldn't penetrate it with their energy. I was like, well, fuck, I'm just gonna try anything. And so I did that. That was what I was wanting to say about this story, is so that I had done that. So then we went to bed. And so I was sleeping, and I wasn't feeling like I was being jarred awake every couple seconds. But she was. Every motherfucker. I couldn't believe it. She was up every fucking second. And she did not lay longer than 2 or 3 minutes. And then she would get up and start walking and going somewhere. She was so uncomfortable. And she did not make a peep. Not a fucking peep. All fucking night. Which was, it was like soul crushing. I was like, oh my gosh. I felt kind of really bad, really guilty. I'm like, oh my God, you can't just oh man. And but you heard, she's got it back. She got back in her groove. She's back on her, like, but during the night, she is like, I do not want to deal with that bitch. She fucking stomps around and whines and cries, cusses. And it still doesn't like, because I'm real peaceful. I'm always peaceful. She's lived in a peaceful house, always. So anytime that I'm having a fit about something, because I've had some fits. I've had probably 10 fits in my fucking time. I don't know, probably more than that. I've had some fits. Like, I'm like, God damn it. So anyways, she's seen some, but you know, I quickly get my shit together. And, but you gotta, like, it's like let out the steam, like, Rrr! So anyways, she's up all motherfucking night. And so then we get up in the daytime. She was up all motherfucking day. And I kept talking, and she was getting really out of it. She was sitting there just staring and all that. And I was like, okay, this is what I was going through the day before. And I was like, so out of it and feeling so weird and stuff. And so she kept doing that, and she's like stumbling around. It was like, oh my God. And she couldn't sleep, and she couldn't sleep. And every time she would lay down, because I've been crocheting, like my shirt is on hold, but I'm crocheting this blanket for my because he's gotten much bigger. He needs a bigger blanket. I guess I must have only sent little ones. So I'm making him a bigger blanket so I can send that, and then I'll get back on. But the halter, I kind of reached a thing, because on my little thing, because it's kind of like a tube top, but then I was doing these cute little strap things, or I was doing these little flower things. But that's where I'm kind of hung up of like, do I like that? So anyways, I'm at I'm not sure if I like that place in that. So on the, now I have a bunch of different options going through my head. Okay, thanks. So the, oh, okay. Oh my God. So then so she's up all day, and I kept telling her, you got to go to sleep, so you got to go to sleep. And she would lay down, and then she would be the same thing, just jolted awake. And she kept seeming super uncomfortable, like back by her hips and her butt and stuff. And this is why every time, ever since she was little, that I've taken her to the vet for anything. Like if I took her in for this, every time I go pay $1,000, $1,200 to be told, well, you know, she has hip dysplasia and arthritis. It gets worse as they get older. So this is what, but we have these options for medicine. That's every fucking time. So that's why I don't go and rush, like, because I know some people are like, God, why don't you just go to the vet? Why don't you just go to the vet? Oh, we've been lots of times. And it's just, so, you know, I just began dealing with it on my own. And she does go through periods where it's bad. And I think one of the things I came up with was, oh, she's outgrown this house. When I watch her walk around, she's always got to like back up. She's got to turn. It's like, fuck, if you were too big for your house and you're always having to move awkwardly, like, fuck, you would get some muscle spasms, man. You would be like, and she gets sometimes she'll get this little like ripple muscle spasm. And so I'm like, oh, another sign. She's outgrown this house. And so that was something. It's like your environment is affecting you. So it's like it's like a communication, but you have to have the awareness of the communication around you, because otherwise you're just paying attention to, it's like you're, it's like, it's like the game is all levels, like I said. It just depends on what level you're paying attention to. And so, anyways, let me think where I was on that. So she was, oh, so I was thinking about, oh, she'd outgrown the house and whatnot. But I kept doing, like, massaging her, like, her back, her neck even, her hips. I'm doing all these massages, rubbing. And I could feel some big muscle spasms, like, right above her hips, you know. And I was like, I bet you it's nerve pain. And, you know, like, when you're laying and it's just like, you just keep moving and moving and moving. And, like, I don't know, I've got that kind of stuff all the time. Trying to sleep and being uncomfortable, you know. Oh, my shirt's falling off. And so anyways, this was the thing that was kind of trippy though, is that so she couldn't sleep, and so now it's like beyond 24 hours that she's been up. And I'm like, oh my God, this is wild. And I had given her some more medicine, but it was kind of, no, I didn't give her any. I wasn't giving her any medicine, because she was seeming kind of drugged up or something. And so then I kept being like, man, maybe it's the medicine. Maybe she is drugged up. But she can't sleep. She needs to sleep it off. And so she was just up and up and up. And I just was like, fuck, I don't even know what the fuck. So I was like, well, do you want me to put a soak on you? Because sometimes, you know, she gets those cyst things, and we'll do like a Epsom soak. So I'll get a towel wet and I'll put it on there. And so this didn't have Epsom or anything. It was just water. So I just put some water in. Cool is better too. She likes cool better. And so I got a towel, and then I put cool water on it, and I laid it on the back of her, and she went to sleep. She just, boom, out, snoring her fucking head off. I was like, what? So I'm like, my fucking, you know, my science mind, my inventor mind starts being, okay, you can invent this. Like, I'm going through this whole thing. It's kind of like, it must be kind of like, what are those things called? The thunder coat or something. Must feel kind of like a thunder coat too. And then it puts like a coolness in the places it hurt. Works so good. I can't believe it. So she went to sleep, and when she was asleep for a while, and then she woke up and she did some stuff. She still hasn't eaten from last night, but also we are under deep fog. And what was the other thing? Because there was something else weird in our environment. I don't know. It was foggy as fuck though. And I mean, it's just weird too. It's just weird. Like the fog just blows in. It's like the clouds just suddenly are it's weird. And then the weirdness with the noise and shit. So anyways, then, so she's not feeling good. And so she wouldn't eat. And so then she was up for a while, and she wasn't as out of it, but she laid back down and went, she kind of cried at me. So I put a towel back on her. She conked back out and just was out. And I was like, fuck. And this was like at 4:30 or something. So I'm like, fuck, I should go to sleep while she's sleeping, man. What if that's like, if she's gonna sleep real good for hours and then she'll be up? And so I was like, so I started, you know, putting my stuff up. And anyways, I'll crochet my hand at cramping anyways. And I keep doing that. And so it's better when I make myself stop anyways. And so I stopped, and I was putting my stuff up and to lay down. And then she got up and she went back out. And then we laid down, I think it was like at 6, and went to sleep. And it's not like I wake up. It's not like I wake up, but it's like I'm awake. I don't know how to explain it. Because, and I don't even know if I'm looking throughout my eyeballs, if I'm opening my eyeballs, if I'm just looking straight ass through them. I don't know. I don't know if my consciousness is just out here telling me shit. I don't fucking know. But so, but I would look over, and she was totally snoozing. But a couple times I looked over, I saw her in positions I had never seen her in. And I was like, oh my God, she's so cute. Because I feel like I was looking over to see if she was okay. So I feel like I could wake up for a second, look over, and then I'm just like, it's weird. Because it's not like I'm awake or I don't know. It's just like I know that I need to check something. It's just like the fire. The fire will wake me up. And so I always feel like it's like, because I had that ever since I was a kid. Like if I say, I need to be aware of this, then they'll wake me up. Always. I always used them for an alarm when I was a kid. Like we're teenagers, they have a problem waking up. I even told them, because I had one daughter who had such a problem. She would even put 2 alarms. Me, my sister, we would all, my daughter, her sister, we all go in and try and wake her up. And it was a nightmare. She could not fucking wake up. And, and then jump up. I'm going to be late. Ugh, teenagers. And I would always say, tell yourself, this is what time I need to get up. But see, I think this is the kind of stuff, I would say to my kids, and I'm such an oddball that they would think I was just strange. Like they didn't understand what the hell I was talking about. The universe will wake you up. And so that's what I've always done. And I always tell people, just tell them when you need to get up. They'll tell you. They always wake me up like 1 minute before, and you look over at the clock. And I used to have a clock right next to my bed. And, you need to get up at 4 in the morning, you need to get up at 3 in the morning, you need to get up at 6 in the morning. Sometimes I would, and I think this is why it would always be 1 minute before. It's because sometimes I would set an alarm when I would get real like, oh, man, I really got to be there. Like I got to be at the airport by 5. I got to be up at 3. So better set an alarm just to make sure. So it's always like 1 minute before. Oh, really? Going to test us? So I think that's probably why it would always be 1 minute before. But always get woke up right at the time. And so, that's a thing. And I know that's just not a me thing. That's like, it's available to anybody. But that's the thing, is like where I don't know what other people focus on. Like, there's a lot of things you can access in the universe. It's like information and like even stuff like you don't know how to do something. You can sit there and ask them. Sometimes if they know, like, you are doing something, they'll just give you, oh, we'll try this, we'll do this. And so it's kind of like they'll participate and then maybe come in later. Like on the cooking thing, this happens a lot because that's kind of like all I fucking do lately. And so they'll put stuff into my head and different things and stuff. So it's like when they know you're interested in something, you'll have that energy that will come and give you information. Like you can get things like where people are always talking about this downloads and stuff, but see, you can use the universe for downloading like information that you're looking for. I mean, you have to go out and ask them. And, I just have things coming into my head of when I didn't know how to do something, and then they would show me, and I would think, oh, that's weird. But I would do it, and I was because this one on this porch thing, because I, when I was doing all this stuff during quarantine, I was doing all these things and fixing up this place, and I built this like extension off this front porch. And so I put all this wood to make this porch go out bigger. And so I put all this wood, and I wasn't sure how I was going to attach it. And they told me to put a long board, like push it up against the back plate, and then push all the wood up like that. And then to take a long strip and put it over the top, and then fasten that down. And that would hold all the wood down. Then I didn't have to go through and do all the different ones. And so I did that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that works so good. And, and that's why I said, like, it's probably some old method that they used to do a long time ago or something. Like, I don't know, because what comes in my head whenever I think of it, I see like Western, like these Western like storefronts and stuff. And I think it must have been how, I mean, probably too, during other times, like we're a lot more frivolous. We're a lot more, oh yeah, well, we just buy 1,000 nails down at the store, so who cares, get a nail gun, shoot them in, like we are very different than how it used to be. Like you wouldn't just be like wasteful. People were not wasteful. It still blows my mind how people would throw away food and not feed it to their dogs. People are so wasteful. And people weren't wasteful before. People were a lot more, use it up. Even in this, in Lizzie Borden, the movie, and, it's because her family had a bunch of money, but her dad was a penny pincher. I think you can even say, I think there's another term. It's even tighter wound. But so he was one of those people. And I don't know, supposedly in the story she didn't like it. And so she killed him over money or something. But he was also controlling. But anyways, there's a scene in the movie where he's such a penny pincher that they eat this food. What do they call it? Something. Like it's something we've all heard. No, it's something we've all heard over time. But something that they would eat. And when they open it, it's so rotten and full of flies and stuff. It's disgusting. And he still makes them eat it until it's all gone. That has to be eaten. You don't waste that. That's fucking food. And so there's that's like what I'm saying. Like people, I mean, even in some countries, they're fucking digging in the garbage and taking out what can still be eaten, which is garbage. Oh, I just can't even stand it. Oh, I'm like, man, I don't need food that bad. I don't need food that bad to eat a bunch of garbage, and I don't even need it that bad to eat another decaying body or somebody else's flesh or any of that stuff. Like, ugh. I don't know. I'm getting real. I was always weird about food. Maybe that's my reconnecting to myself too, because I was my mom said it was kind of embarrassing because I was always tall and lanky, like my arms and legs are long. And if your arms and legs are long, it will make you look thinner because they're just like, like these long arms and legs. And so, I don't know, it's like a marionette. And so but she said it was embarrassing because I was so skinny looking, and she thought people thought I was like malnourished, like I did never eat. But I'm super, super picky, and always super picky. And I had weird things where I would think that there was like this Eastern part of it, like, I don't know, I don't want to say Asian, because the Asia includes part of the Middle East. So it's Oriental, but it is it's more older. And I don't know if it's from when I went back to that circle with those women, if it was like that life had a huge impact on different parts of me, or if that was a part of what our history was in certain areas. And so if you came back and lived in those times, there was certain things. But like how I said, like I was always a tea drinker. I was always, there was other things that were really strange. Like, that may not seem that strange now, so what? A lot of people drink tea. One like that 40, 50 years ago. No, that was very strange. And most people drink coffee. And when you say, no, I'll have a tea, be like, what? What'd she order? Do we have tea? Like, it was like, people are just so used to everything being the way it is that nobody thinks about what it used to be like before it was the way it is. And it became the way it is because there was people, like I said, like what they were saying. It's like, it's a movement, it's a direction, and it's like it's imprinted into you. Like I was always out there going in the direction out I was always being told, like, what are you doing? That is not logical. Where are you going? What are you doing? They're like, well, that's what my God said. I'm going where I'm supposed to and following my inside. What do you follow? Well, I sure don't follow that. I was like, what are you talking about? You don't follow what your soul tells you? What are you talking about, soul? Oh my God, you are so crazy. Like that would be the conversations. So the your soul doesn't talk to you. I don't know. You should just start listening because it very well does. And now where am I? I feel like I'm lost. Let me think. Okay, did we finish the thing about Stella in that night? Because that was weird as shit. And then she was just up, and wouldn't make a peep. It was like, oh my God, I've traumatized her. And but that I had put that bubble around me and I wasn't being interfered with, but it was going so hard on her to the point where I was just like, oh my God, I'll just take the bubble down, just like, fuck, just to harass me again. Like, God damn, it's hard to watch them harass somebody else. And even though I know they always harass her to harass me too. And so anyways, I'll just be glad when all those fucking dark energy is finally like out of here. Go. But it's like, it's more like the visual is more like the dark energy is here and the light energy is going to shoot out. That's the catapult. That is us. That's trippy because it is kind of like what that guy, like, come together energetically though. Like, you can't get everybody to do things they're scared of doing, like stop paying, because it is a battle. And then like, I'm going into my battle in the dark. So yeah, it's scary. So I'm not going to tell other people, do this. Like, I wish everybody would just stop paying and we could all just go in that direction, but it's not going to go like that. And some of us get pushed to do things that are fucking scary. Like, but I also, like, it's like I've got enough built, like, it's like, okay, we'll do it. Well, I can handle it. Yeah, I know. So anyways, but is like when all the people do come together, that is like this catapult. That is the energy. That is that's interesting because it's kind of, okay, no, I don't know for sure. But kind of like how I see it is like these things going on right now, these awakening things, like pushing and pushing and pushing on us. And then so the things awakening the people and getting people more mad and getting people to come together and getting people to see their own hateful sides so that they can take down, because you got to see, like, when you see your hateful side, you're not just a hateful person. You've got an injury that's associated. You've put up an armor. You've put up a shield. That's where you got to break it down. You got to take down your shields, take down the cage that you create for yourself. You got to take it down. It's not like you're bad. You do it to protect yourself out of fear, anxiety, hurt, pain, all that stuff. So it's just a part of the process. It's not like you're doing something wrong. And so then the people, so then they go through that process. Then the universe is going to come in, like I said, where people, they're holding on too tight. Like, oh, we got to pay our rent. We can't be infected. Look at all the homeless people. What we do? And so we just got to pay them. We just got to pay them no matter what. We just got to. And then plus you have, in most of the relationships, there's a counterbalance. And so that is also to teach you so that you can't just, there's lessons in your every situation. And so the people all, but the universe is going to come in with this big action and is going to take all this stuff. And so everything is going to be taken away. Jobs are being taken away. Homes are being taken away. Everything's going to be taken away over and over and over from the people. And so the people can see, oh, we don't need that. We don't need that. If it's being taken away, we don't need that. It's going to be okay. And so it's like everything is being taken away, but it's for their own good. Even though they're scared. It's for their own good. But they have to go through a little bit to get to the part where there's like, oh, okay, see, we're fine. And then plus, then it's when you get to the good part and you're like, oh, look at this. Look, everything's so much better. If we would have been holding on to that, we'd still be back there. That's horrible. Look at where we are now. But everybody, nobody can see that good part. So they just stay back in the bad part. But the universe is like, sorry, guys, we're going to do it for you. So they're going to take everything away and then leave people standing there. And then it's like the people all coming together. That energy is what makes the change. It's like, because how it looks is like the dark energy is here and the light blasts off. Like once the light comes together, then it like blasts off. Like it's almost like it's not blast off, really go somewhere. It's like energetically though, it separates. And it's like the dark it's like the dark is stuck down in like dark matter or whatever. The darkness is stuck in its vibration, and then and then where the food source is pulled away. That must be why they say that after a certain amount of time that it ends, because they have nothing to feed off of. So that dark energy, it just keeps receding and receding, like blood drying up and then crusting and then just going away. So, but it's the light that has to pull out of the dark. But once the light all pulls out of the dark together, then it's like this catapulting. That must be like what the solar flash is, like this instant of the light separating from the dark. Is because that's what I keep saying, is we create this solar flash thing. We're energetically creating this, going back and forth, is this energy thing, and we're a part of it. And I think that a lot of the beings and stuff that are around us, these other dimensional beings, that they are speaking to us through telepathy to help us to move forward. There's a lot of people who can't hear the telepathy because there's so much noise, but that's why they're creating so much noise and distraction. They're hanging out every shiny fucking thing that they can. It's like, because they know how easy people are distracted by shiny things, especially when there's so much problems and people don't want to deal with the problems. Nobody wants to deal with the problems. Nobody feels good about that. So let's just hang out a bunch of shiny stuff and get their attention and make them happy. And then the people are just so happy. They get to do something fun and be happy. But is it all a distraction to get you from being able to... Well, you have to work on yourself to get to the point to be able to pick up on the telepathy. Because there's a whole part where you got to get to being able to trust. Like, you got to separate yourself from your own mind. So many people don't have separation in their mind. They think that they are their thoughts. It's like, well, you got to think, where are these thoughts originating from? Like, your thoughts, like your brain isn't just cooking fucking thoughts. Like, I always think that is so strange when people, like, I've even said to people, like, well, where do you think your thoughts come from? I was like, people just think they're goddamn geniuses or something. Like, it's like your thoughts are coming from outside of you. But you have to start paying attention and communicating. And so there's a lot of people who aren't at that level. They're far from that level. And so this is all of the encounters or the situations and stuff that have to occur. Because it's like little steps to get people to break down their walls and to open their mind. It's like these two things happening, because you got to remove your own obstacles. Removing your own obstacles opens your mind, but you got to open your mind. You got to start understanding that it's different than what you thought. Just like this reality is different than you thought. Just like this is, the globe or flesh and blood, all the stuff that they have said, death, aging. The aging one just really gets me. It just really gets me. Because I really did. I saw, well, we just age and then we get old and then we die. I mean, Like, seriously. Like, when you think about it, like, when we see other animals, like, how many of them just become old and decrepit? Like, they can go old in years. Even that lion, that fucking the oldest fucking lion still looked young. He didn't look like a fucking old decrepit, like, and when they're old and decrepit, that is, starvation and shit. Like, why weren't we putting this all together? Like, there was no reason. Like, aging isn't a part of the process. Aging is a slow murder. You're slowly being drained of your essence. You're slowly being drained of all your minerals. You're drying up like a prune. You're becoming a goddamn prune. And they even fucking said that. Like, I remember that being even in something that had been in TV shows or something. Like, they were shriveling us like motherfucking prunes. And, into raisins. But we had to recognize, that just shows the disconnect that we had with our own bodies, because we couldn't even recognize. But see, that is the thing too, is where people just start being like, covering up, masking. Well, I'm getting old, so I'll just color my hair. Because I'm watching these ladies on TikTok letting their hair go natural now. Like, they're stopping coloring their hair. This is the big movement of, embrace your aging, just embrace it. Quit being fake and quit coloring your hair. Let it go gray and all this. So I'm watching all this empowerment for these women, like, oh, look at us and look how beautiful and our gray locks and all this stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God, I've got such a different look at it now. But because there's this one lady especially, and her hair is so full on, like, is 100%. All her hair is so gray. She's not like, as her hair is growing out, she is full on gray, and I just keep wanting to be like, oh my God, you've got to go drink the fucking copper, dude. You fucking embrace your grays. You've got a fucking mineral shortage, hard ass one, and she doesn't even look that old, and so it's like, fuck, you got to get in there and drink that copper and shit, and but I just look at all these ladies so different now, and I look at the whole process so different. And the whole thing about aging isn't real. Just like how they used, the Dovik and told us, oh, you all got this flu. Everybody's got this serious flu. It's like, the towers right at the same time. Oh, that's a little suspicious. Yeah. And all the fucking bullshit. Yeah, fucking flu. That is what they use a cover story, just like, but you have these big ones, like your flesh and blood. And we fucking make whole books about it and shit. Make whole doctors and everything. And I sent out 2 more referrals yesterday when I called the doctor's office, and I sent out 2 more. So I sent the one to Seattle and the one to Spokane. So I'll see what they say. It still could very well be that this is all just like movement, but it's always going to end up in the med bed. This one implant's fucking trying to make a prison break anyways, and it hurts. I swear to God, it's trying to get out the side of my body. It's like this plastic has got a mind of its own. It's like, fuck, we don't like you either. Fine, get the fuck out. I'll make a little cut. I swear to God. That's a part of my battle. And these people, whatever, keep telling me, just make a little cut. You can, like, put me the whole thing in my head. It's like, oh, God, I could. Fuck, I could do that. Yeah. Okay, but I'm not going to do that. I fucking probably get an infection or something. And I probably cut too deep. I probably do something stupid. Like, there is an artery over there. And so it's like, I don't know. But it just seems so easy, especially when you can feel it. You can feel the fucking implant. It's like, fuck, just take a little pinch there. So, anyways, I won't do that. I'll just wait and see. And if I don't get those done, I'll still have hopes that some ethical doctor will, I don't know. The universe has a plan. I know they're coming out. And the universe has a plan. How they're getting out is going to go the perfect way. So I just got to keep on going towards that direction, and knocking on, it's like knocking on the door. Am I supposed to come here? Nope. Close the door. Okay, go to the next door. Am I supposed to come here? Nope. Close the door. So you just, I mean, you can't get down either. You can't be like, sometimes, especially when you know something's coming, it's like, oh, I'm just going to make it happen. But man, making it happen, you got to go in universal time. You got to go in the flow. You got to just, they've got a plan. It's a way, it could be, well, you don't know where it is. It's somewhere up there. And it's going to happen the way it's going to happen. And you can't interfere with how things happen. You can't force things to happen the way you want them to happen. And that is the battle. Like, that is my own internal battle, is the, you know, well, I want this to happen. I want it to happen right now. And, but to be like, okay, you just got to relax. It's like you're learning patience. It's like the universe is teaching you how to be patient. It's like, okay, I know you want it now, but just calm your little self down. It's coming. There's a plan. Just sit down and relax. And see, then it's like, I think when people really interfere, it's like because some people can. You can totally interfere, but it was always going to happen that way. Like, that is what you were there to see. So if somebody's constantly interfering with their plan, which I think that's probably what I did before when I was younger, that's probably why the brain injury was, because I was trying to make things be the way I thought they should be. And I wasn't going in the flow, you know, and I was staying in bad relationship after bad relationship. And just, you know, what's so weird too, is that my daughter, you know, she had said that she was talking, she wanted to ask me something before she went to counseling, because I said she was talking about this, going to this counseling. And I said, yeah, sure. And so she was asking about this weird situation. And I've talked about it before, this whole weird fight that happened with my ex and with my daughters. It was this whole weird thing that happened. And we all had different perspectives, but my perspective was lost. My perspective was intermelded with everybody else's perspective. Nobody could see that I had my own. Everybody thought mine was an extension of theirs. And it's so weird how this has become so clear to me, because it's hard when you're trying to please other people and you're trying to be the best you can be and be the good mom and be the good wife. Like, you're trying to be all these things. And everything is, it's like everything is pushing and pushing and pushing, and you're trying and trying and trying. And then this situation happens, though, and everybody has their own opinion, their own perspective about it. And then they all think, like a kid thinks, well, the mom should have the same perspective as me. She's my mom. It's like, mine very different than everybody's. I have my own experience through this, but it's weird. Like, just notice those things, how other people will think like you don't have one, like you should just have an extension of theirs. And it's weird. But so she was asking something about it, and that is when that popped into my mind. And I said, I can tell you one thing, it's weird, is everybody thought I should look at it through the way they looked at it. And I had very different opinion about what went on that day and how I looked at it. And she goes, yeah, but what about this situation? And so she's saying after, which we did the numbers yesterday. She knew the numbers. So this person was in my life 2 years. I kept thinking it was like 1.5 years and that we were married like 9 months. But it must have been we were married at like 1 year or 1.5 years or something. It was a very short. It could have been 9 months. It was really short marriage. It was one of those real embarrassing things. And I swear to God, half our relationship was me trying to get him to move out of my fucking house. And it was a whole thing. It was like this period of time was hellacious. And so my daughter was asking me something about this situation, and that I wanted them to write these apology letters or something, and why would I do that or something? I was like, you know what? I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, I was fucked up. I have no idea that is so far out of my understanding. I have no recollection of it. I can't even imagine it. And she said, yeah, sometimes I look back on stuff I did when I was in my worst, and it's like embarrassing or something. It's like, yeah, it's like, fuck, I don't know what the hell I was doing. And I said, besides the fact I was on drugs, I didn't even realize, like, I'm on all these prescriptions. And she goes, well, what all were you taking? And I started saying, and she goes, they were giving you benzos? And I said, yeah, I could fucking go in and say whatever I wanted. And, and it wasn't like I was saying, oh, I want benzos. Like, I wasn't a drug seeker, but I would see things in the hospital that would work, like on a migraine or something. And I wouldn't think like, oh, this would be really bad to take every day. They would be like, oh yeah, take that every day. That's prophylactic, so you won't get a headache. And so it would give you benzos. And so there was a period, and they were trying all different things all the time. It was all about this fucking scoliosis, spasms, and this fucking migraines. And that they had to, and that I had to go at it in this certain way. Like, it's such fucking nonsense now. The whole fucking thing, when I just look back at it, it's just irritating. And, but so I was on all these drugs, and I didn't know I was, no wonder it fucking hot in my court case. They were trying to say all this shit about the drugs and stuff. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about, these drugs? That they are the thing that gave me the brain injury. How did that happen? It was like overnight then. And in the hospital. I'm like, such bullshit. But anyways, they kept saying that stuff at the trial. And then you find out too that so many of these drugs that you're on are being fucking sold on the black market. People get this shit and they are selling it. These are being used as street drugs. They're literal drugs. And so you're going around, and my coked out husband, he would say, you're a drug addict. Because if I said anything to him, you're a drug addict, I'd be like, I'm on prescriptions. You're on drugs, lady. Look at all the drugs you take. I was like, they're prescriptions. And he would just laugh at me. And now I see, oh my God, what an imbecile. It was so, yeah, I was like fucking strung out on a lot of drugs. And look how sick I had to get. I had to get colitis to get myself off of them. I'd just be like, okay, give me another. Yep, something's wrong with me. I'm broken. Make me feel better. Make me feel better. Somebody make me feel better. It's like, okay, universe is listening. We're going to take you down, sister. You're going to feel better. But it's going to be a little journey. And it was a hard journey. Get a brain injury and have everything fall apart and have to put it all back together. But, geez, it's fucking worth it, man. I'm so glad. I'm so glad now. Fuck. If I still was living it the way I was, if I still worked at the hospital through all this, like, shit, fuck, man. Fuck that shit. I'm so glad the way it went down. Like, thank you, universe. So that, and I think that that's what a lot of people are going to feel when it all comes down, is in their own lives, they're going to just like, they'll get that perspective of like, you mean I could have kept going that same direction another 10, 15 years? Like, fuck, I'm glad this shit happened the way it did. I'm just getting really wheezy. So that is, but you know, you got to go through the part. Like when I was going through it, you're going through the loss and then looking at things different, and you know, it's a lot. It's a lot of work and it's hard. But then it's once you get to this certain part, it's like, fuck, god damn, that was worth it. It was like a small fucking journey to get the hell out of the hell that we were in. And so many people don't realize that they're in this hell until you get out of it. And then you look back and you're like, fuck, man, I could have stayed there. I was saying, thanks, universe, for getting me the fuck out. Because there's things where we can't do it for ourselves. We need the universe to rip everything away from us so that we can have the things that we want, because we're so scared that we're not going to get what we want. We hold on so tight to what we have, but you got to let go of what you have in order to get what you want. And so it's this whole transition that has to go down. And so it's very exciting, but it's hard and it's troublesome. And I mean, it is, you know, there's going to be, it's this just this energetic, like churning. It is, there's like a churning already going, because there is so much gain and loss happening. Like it's going and going and going, but it's gonna go out bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then there's something, you know, it's like the energy gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but us all coming together, see, it's like we make it go the way we want it to go. We make it go into the light. It's like everybody gets the light back inside them. Everybody remembers. And all of us turning our lights on at once. It's like the universe is going to do something. Something will happen. But then it's going to be, it's all to get people to turn their lights on. But it's like when all of us turn our lights on at once, that is the solar flash. That is the energy. That is where it all changes. That is where it's just like this boom. And then we go into this new reality. But the reality is coming in. The reality is coming in. So it's still, we're going to have these patents. There's still going to be all this stuff going on. There's going to be all these businesses that are going to switch over to AI, where people are going to be real upset that they lose their jobs. This is one of the things where people lose something and they're all upset. But then, you know, you go on and it's like, oh, fuck, man, that was the best thing that ever happened. If that fucking robot didn't come in and do my job, I'd still be doing it, a robot's job. And instead, here I am, you know, creating and making whatever it is, you know, you become your own thing. You become your creator. You create your platform, your whatever it is, your invention. Everybody's got stuff inside them, but they can't get to it because they're so distracted and so busy working for the man, you know, being a slave, not having time to think for themselves, being told what to do, when to do it. And, you know, you gotta be a good citizen. So, anyways, all that is being done for the people. So the things get ripped out from under them so then that they can have the things that they want. But it's also the thing getting ripped out from under you also gives you this opportunity to show yourself what you're made of. So, because it's all about you seeing yourself. So it's like you showing yourself what you're made of. Ooh, you know, it is kind of too, man, the hateful, toxic, I'm telling you, everything you can just to break free from your biases. If you find yourself judging people just like for an in general judgment, like I'm not saying, you know, somebody's going and stealing something and fucking somebody over and you're sitting there going like, that's some fucked up shit, man. Not that kind of judgment. I'm talking about an overall, like a whole group, like how we have a whole group of people are all the migrants, all the immigrants are bad. All we got to fear. You know, you're lumping in a huge amount of people into a group and then you are directing your fear or your anger, your sadness or whatever onto them. That's the things you got to catch yourself, so that when you catch yourself, that you can release the biases. You got to go in and kind of break them down. Like, why am I? Because it's based on fear and shit. It's based on what you're scared. These people are going to get something, or they're going to hurt you, or something. You got to break it down inside yourself and figure it out. Like, what am I focused on? But there's a whole bunch of people who have that. Like, there's a bunch of biases and shit that all have to be broken down out of people. And so that to me is what is about to be going down. Like, to me, it still seems like there's so much, you know, every fucking day, like, oh, there's gonna be a nuke, oh, there's gonna be this, oh, WA, it's like nonstop. And I don't know how much of it is that them just trying to like fucking freak us out and scare us and shit, or if this is about to go. Because to me, it seems like that something that is talked about so much that it just seems like it makes sense to me is the grid to go down. Because they need the grid to go down. Because we're starting on a new one. So they need it to go down. And then it can go so much more gentle. Like, where that doesn't even have to be an issue. There's so many issues. Like, where you want everybody to wake up to every single thing. There's so many fucking things. There has to be some things where they're just like, okay, we got these other things we got to focus on. And they've got so many people up for so many crimes. That is going to be the focus. And so they're not going to have time for all the little fucking bullshit, I think. And so the grid to go down, and then people to learn about free power as free power is put in. And then maybe it's linked to, it was always there. They were holding it back, repressing technology from us and stuff like, I don't think it's all going to be like being told to us like, oh, now we're going to do free power. You know what I mean? It's going to be like the grid go down, and then when it comes back, because they would already know. Like, I don't think it's going to go down for months or years or something. I think it would go down to turn everything off. So then when it's powered back on, we're on a new system. And so the quantum system. And then it will be, it will go associated with free energy. And that's going to lead us with the different way that we move. Like, just fucking think about, when I was just talking to my daughter too, we're talking about her coming or whatever, and we were talking about cars or whatever. I'm always talking about weird shit. This is what drives people crazy when they talk to me. And I was like, well, pretty soon then we'll have the fly-in cars, and then we'll be able to go real fast. And it's like, well, yeah, that'd be cool. It's like, no, but we will, because we're not going to have these ones, the tires and all that shit. We're not going to be on the ground anymore. We're going to be up. And I don't know, I would think there must be a sound, like a sound wave or something that we put out. The car puts out like a vibrational frequency around it to keep the birds and stuff. It's like a bounce thing, a vibrational bounce thing. So when we're moving, we don't hit into each other, and we don't hit into birds and animals, or not animals up in the sky. Well, no telling what's going to be up in the sky. I swear to God, I've seen jellyfish. But so I don't know. I mean, we could just be out in the ocean and we're going through submarines. I think it'll be kind of, it's not like in the ocean, because the water isn't as dense as in the ocean, but it's like the ocean is just the denser part, but we're still in the waters. To me, everything is this plasma, everything in the whole space. Confirmation. Everything is like this plasma, but it just at different densities. And so this is like the density, which here too, it keeps being weird. Like they are doing something with the atmosphere or something over here, where all of a sudden it's like it pulls all the air, and it's like you can't catch your breath. It's like, oh, this is so weird. So and then also looking out over that way, there is this like black strip, and I'm not driving out, so I can't see what it looks like out, but definitely for days when I look out, and it's weird because I'd seen in Florida there was some big black strip. It's not as big and black as that, and it doesn't have a rainbow on each side, but there's definitely a denseness, and I don't know if that denseness goes all the way around wherever my realm is, whatever realm I'm in. If that density goes all the way around it, I think things are so much different than what they tell us. So so anyways, there's that. And how long have I been talking? I start feeling like, man, have I been talking a long time? Maybe I'm just sitting here just zoning out, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, the cars thing. So I was like, man, we'll be able to get to places so much faster when we can just fly over and not having to go through the roads and stuff. It's like that is going to speed things up a lot when we start traveling by air. And it'll be like we all have little like mini airplanes to fly around. And then so that change will go, and that will kind of, because that will be they could already have people working on it. Like David Wilcox said, he had a group working on it. So there could be people already working on it. But some of the things will be people's successes, people's inventions and stuff. So we'll go through that part. There'll be patents released. There'll be people using these things and creating them, and coming up with these new vehicles and stuff. And it'll probably be kind of like how it is now with cars. And so there'll be a lot of that kind of thing. Like our world is going in a new direction, but the people all get the opportunities to go into these more creative parts of themselves. And so we're going to go through that part, climatic part of this exciting, is like a industrial revolution, but it's us. We are our own industry. We are our revolution. We are the expansion. It's not like something separate from us, an entity, an energy over us. Now it's us. And so that expansion of everybody, because there is people who are already all on the development of agriculture, community, all sorts of things, education, all that stuff is in people. It's and it's like getting them, just like how I am pushed in a certain direction. Everybody has a push inside them. You can fight against your push and keep focusing on something that bothers you, or you can get into your push. And that's when you get on that timeline. That's the timeline jump, when you go into your push, when you go where your direction is trying to lead you and stop focusing on all the bullshit. And so then when you go into that and you start focusing on the desires, the drive inside of you to find your best self, then that, becomes your journey, and everything starts opening up to you and parts of yourself. And so there's a whole bunch of people who are here to move us in these directions. It's not like we're all going in like, well, now what do we do? No, there's all sorts of people who they're carrying it in them. It's a part of their imprint. It's a part of their role. And so it's a part of their description on their role. Like you think about like characters in movies or something, and they have like a description. So is a part of their description is what they're here to do. And there's a whole bunch of people here to move us forward in all sorts of different directions, and that it will be a lot of expansion. Like these different people, there will be like elevations. There will be people who will become community leaders. There will be all sorts of leaders and all sorts of like new leaders into our world that are bringing in new information, new inventions, exciting new times. And so that is, the energy changing. It's like the people doing it. And so we all participate. We all are doing it. We're the ones who are going to do it. That's why we get to be so proud of it when we get there. What we did, what they did to us, and what we did with that. This is the biggest transmuting of energy. That's what is so fucking cool. Oh my gosh, it's making me feel emotional. That's what's so cool for the universe. This is like a huge transmuting of energy. It's like this huge change, because it's not that like all these people, like the universe is changing, so it's changing you. But I don't see it that way. I see it as like the energy is changing. It's a cycle. You have all these beings that are sending us telepathy, helping us through this time of confusion and pain and suffering, and the ending of something and the beginning of something else. It's a very flamboyant time. And so they're there to assist and give communication. And it's like they're all on shore and we're all on this boat, and they're trying to help us onto shore, onto stability. Oh man, that is emotional. So the energy is happening, and it's like the communication that you partake in. Like people think, well, I'm getting downloads and stuff like that. You're communicating. Like you're in a communication. Don't like talk back when you get a download. Communicate back and build that bridge. Start recognizing that voice. Start building a trust. And a lot of the ones that are associated, the ones that are trying to communicate with you, you have a connection. And there's a vibrational connection. It's not just randos. It's like you have an energy behind you that is assisting you. And so it's like your ancestors, it's like this whole thing. And so that is there to help you through the time. And then the people going through the time, and it's the rising from the ashes. It's the phoenix. It's this time of the butterfly coming out, is this time of this transition that is occurring. And the people are like cocooned. It's like they're not cocooned yet, really. Some people are. Some people are cocooned. Some people aren't. Some people aren't in their cocoon yet. Is that the going into the cocoon is when they're in the deep, the dark night part. The dark night is when it's like the cocoon is created. Is when you come out of the dark night. It's like the breaking free from your old self, where you do look back at your old self and you're like, oh my God, why would I even do that? Like, what was I thinking? It's like, oh, I don't know. I was pretty weird back then. I did some weird shit. I was pretty desperate. So you just got to be able to see yourself like and laugh about it. Don't be so like, oh, like it's embarrassing. Like, oh my God, people are gonna think I'm so desperate. Fuck, everybody's desperate. Get over it. And you can sit there and build that up. Oh, I'm so much worse than everybody. Everybody, oh no, I'm worse. Oh, no, everybody, I'm way worse than you. It's like, okay, if that's what you need to do. So, but the whole thing is this cocooning in, to let go of these old parts of yourself, to bust out, to become this new version of yourself. But then there's all this building up of yourself, to figure out what you're good at and to go and pursue you and your dreams. And that is when everything is going to start building. But there's going to be so much building already, because there is people who have been cocooned. There's people who have gone through all of the healing and stuff, and that they'll come out, and there will be a lot of leading, but it's not going to be like they can't carry it at all. It's only giving a direction. It's just like holding a light. It is literally like a way shower. It's like there's going to be light everywhere of a new direction, and then it's going to propel people. But a lot of people have a lot of stuff they have to shed, and that's when they have to go into their cocoon. They have to shed their own selves. They have to shed the parts that embarrass them, the parts that they think are bad, the parts that they, is just a shedding. And then it's the coming out of like, okay, I did it. I've overcome. I faced myself. I faced the darkness, and now I'm fucking regenerated. I'm new. I'm ready to go. And then it's like this new version, this excited, just ready to swallow everything, all the information, all the love, just this whole new self emerges. And that is when things go in this direction. It's with that new energy that comes out that starts being like, yep, let's go. And it's going to really propel society, is going to start moving in this new direction. So there will be a lot of the way showers that will be on the top of the hill. It will be like, oh, because they've got to show the way. So the way showers will have the light, and it will seem like there's just like a whole new direction, and there's all these different people holding the light, and it's a whole new direction, and it's going to cause a lot of ripple. It's going to cause some people to really fall apart, and that is a good thing. If you're falling apart, that's a good thing, is you want to shed those. You want those parts to come off easily. You want to recognize them and see them. So those makes things easier. And so you want to shed that, but it's the shedding is it's like a shedding all of the past and all of the pain that went with that suit, went with that armor. and then you let it out and you go, then that energy of all those people are going to just move our society and going in another direction. Then the people who are really stuck, the ones that are having such a hard time, and facing yourself is fucking hard, dude. There'll be people who will be like, I can't do it. There'll be people who probably continue to still try and drink and do stuff like that to distract themselves, because it's very hard when you haven't even ever been taught or learned how to do this stuff. And so facing yourself and you feel so much shame and guilt and pain, and you can't believe you're so stupid. You can't believe you did that. You can't believe, and you beat yourself down. And that is, a part of the understanding of good and evil, good and bad, and, that you are both things. You're both. You're not one or the other. You just get out of balance. You get too much in one. But now, it's going to go back into the other, where you're going to go, everybody will go a little too much into, just like how everybody woke up on the spiritual and then became these super spirits. It was like they'll go a little too much into that, but it's going to be a beautiful time. It's going to be such a beautiful time where people are so caring. People are going to become so caring and loving and connected. And we're going to build, there's going to be some fucking cool ass communities they're going to build up. There's going to be, it's going to turn into such a fucking cool thing. But, we still have this stuff to go through. And it still seems like we're so close. Like, it definitely seemed like Joe's going down. And I don't know if they're going to put Kamala in, then that's just to just show some other corrupt shit, because it's absurd. And I would think it wouldn't last very long. And, but hopefully he's going to go and just take them all. But I mean, I didn't see gold tennis shoes coming in either. So there's just no telling, no telling. And there's more weird shit too with the, what was that one? A plane crash, which I don't even know if it was a big plane. There's going to be more and more of these plane crashes and shit. There's going to be just more and more of just all the shit. It's so fucked, man. I mean, I want my family to go out and travel and do their thing and stuff, especially follow their own thing. I told my daughter, was like, having me this serious talk, like, Mom, you used to go out and do all this stuff. You used to go on all these trips. Like, I don't understand if you just, like, there's no sickness anymore. And I was like, I'm not scared of sickness. It's like, you guys don't understand. You don't understand what it is I'm going through. And, it's when you're sitting here watching the world fall apart, I would feel like I would have to go into denial to be able to go and do that. And I don't want to go through TSA anymore. I don't want to go through their bullshit anymore. It's all their bullshit to control us and contain us. And then plus, I know on the electromagnetic field thing, what was that one too? Oh, yeah. It was a guy who was doing this. He goes out and looks at these mountains and figures that they're trees and shows this stuff, and was talking about this giant ass tree and how big the trees were when this would have been considered the Garden of Eden. And it was just this lush forest where trees were 1,000 miles high or something. And these giant ass trees that are now, we look at them and they're mountains. I don't even fucking know how tall. It's like Jack and the Beanstalk tall. And the oxygen was different. It was more crystalline. And maybe it's going to change into something like that. But it's weird because it's like we stay the same. It's like, it's weird. I don't know how to explain that, because it's like Alice in Wonderland. It's like you're big if you're in a small place, but you're small if you're in a big place. And so it isn't like we don't change our energy or whatever, but the environment can change. But it wouldn't be like if all the trees were 1,000 miles high and we were bigger, then it wouldn't even seem like any, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know how to explain this, but I can see it. And it's like this changing back and forth in size. And this is something that was always stood out to me ever since I was a kid. As it was when the show Land of the Giants, it was something that they kept explaining to me about the size and stuff with people. And I don't know how it's something about perspective. And then when I got to once my awakening started happening, so I think this was around 2016 or something, and no, maybe it was 2017. It was around then. And then I had that experience, like I said, where I was all of a sudden huge in my room. I was giant. It was like I couldn't fit in my room. And it was the weirdest feeling. And then it would switch and I'd become really, really small. And I was like, oh, and I don't know how to explain it. But there's something about perspective. Anything that comes in bigger, then you're small. Anything that comes in smaller, then you're big. But everything is its own bigness, its own size. So even ants, their world is big, even though to our world, their world is small. And so there's, I don't know, something about this expansion happening. I don't know. So there's like, there's like a lot of cool visuals, but I don't know how to explain them all. But it's weird too, is because you can see them and you can understand what they're representing, but then try and explain them, and that's like, fuck, I don't know how to explain that. And that's why it's so much easier. The more people connect, you just got to keep connecting and connecting. And even if it makes you feel like weird and wacky, to be talking to yourself, and at some point you'll realize you're not talking to yourself, you're talking to other people, and you'll hear them talk back, and you will start having a communication, you'll start having a conversation, and you'll start getting more comfortable being like, oh, okay. And you'll start getting more and more comfortable. That world will become more big and more real to you. And as that world becomes more big and real, the other world, it's like it recedes. It's like the water receding is going away. The bigger this one, as like it really is, wherever your focus is. And that's what is showing us so much of where people are focused. And it's on so much about artificial and superficial shit. It's not on real stuff. So many people are it's weird. It's really weird. But people really, really don't know that there's a real side to life. Like, there's a soul side, there's a spiritual side, there's a side that's real, that this other stuff isn't. So anyways, that's the whole thing. I don't even know. So anyways, I will get going for this day. Oh, I did want to show this though. I did put some stuff on my eyebrows, but I didn't put the charcoal stuff. I opened one of my little containers. It was like, oh, I forgot I had this. I have this kind of stuff happen all the time. I can go through my closet and be like, oh my gosh, I find new clothes all the time. It's like, I didn't remember I got this. Where did I get this? And so I found this little makeup thing. And so I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I had this. This is little, it's like brown. So I did add a little bit of brown on the eyebrows. And obviously I have mascara on. And, but on the hair thing, I think I keep forgetting to show. Because it seems like there's hardly any. But this, even though it looks white, it still is like a goldish kind of color. And there's just not that much of it in all of these little hairs too. You can see how they're kind of darker a little bit. Like they're not just like how they were so white. And now it's just like, because that's what happens, is the hair just starts filling back in. And it's just however slow it takes. Now I feel like that it's kind of going slower. So I feel like I'm better. Like I don't feel like I have so much like of a mineral deficiency. So it's probably just like going a little bit slower. Like when it very first, it was probably, I was so deficient. It was like, it sucked it all up. But now it's like, okay, you're doing good. So now it's just like, I got to still go back because this is all based on a deficiency. But anyways, that's the whole thing is aging is as made up as the rest of their bullshit. And so it's all changing into taking care of yourself, valuing yourself, looking into things deeper, not trusting them. Like there's a lot to it. There's a lot to waking up, a whole lot. So, and we still have a long ways to go. And it's just so wild because there's just so many people that think they're so awake. It's like, yeah, but there's a big part that you're not awake to, and that is going to be the hard part. And so we still have the hard part to come. But there's going to be good things, because there will be good things that will be coming. We'll start hearing about all this technology. People will start getting these, like, lights will come on inside them. Like, they'll know, like, I need to work on that. And, they'll get involved in new projects and stuff. So it will be really exciting. There will be a lot of good things happening. And so, while it's all happening, just remember to love yourself, love everybody, and have a loving day. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye.